Hi everyone, so welcome to our user-centric analytics and data enrichment masterclass. So it's a pleasure to have you in this session, and I will try to make it as much valuable for you as I can in this short time. So it's 1 hour that we will try to be very efficient. So let's move on and try to, first of all, present myself as usual. So my name is Bruno Amaral. I know that some of you already know me, others not, maybe not. So it's important for me also to give you this vision. Besides being the CEO and co-founder of Diamond Bible, I am also a teacher at the university. So I teach at Nova EMS for a while, the digital analytics, web analytics previously, and other topics that are also relevant. So I will try to bring you this mix between the professional side, so how can you really do it in the real world, and more the academic side, that we can have the good information and the baseline so you can understand what I will be presenting. So the context, I think it was already explained in the introduction, but of course I will give you a brief vision about that. So we are living these exceptional times, not just because we are currently in this situation, this health and sanitary situation, but from a couple of years ago, the digital has been evolving. Everyone talks about digital transformation, digital sales, increasing the value that we get from our online and digital assets. So what I think we need to push a step ahead is how actually we read the data and how we track the user behavior. So this masterclass, I will show you what is my vision about this evolution, the focus that we should put on users, because they are the ones that we are designing our applications, and actually they are the ones that can buy our products. So how can you do that? And of course, giving you a more practical side with Google Analytics, so you can jump on this easy tool that you can have already, or you can start adopting and start using it also for your own business. So the goal will be showing you what you have available, and also the concepts behind, so you can apply it in your reality. So let's start by talking a little bit about this evolution that I just mentioned. So regarding analytics, we have been looking for several evolutions, and it keeps evolving. So just recently, Google released something that they call Google App and Web. So they are integrating the worlds, so the mobile world and the web world, into a unified vision. But before that, we had a huge amount of upgrades on this tool, but on the topic in general. So analytics has been evolving from a server-side logging base where we just had some metrics about the number of hits. Then we started to see clicks and page views and navigation path, but in a very simple way. Then we started to focus on a session, if the session was successful or the session had to improve, and we were not converting our users. We went for a user analysis version. So a couple of years ago, a lot of the tools and the focus overall is users. We are designing it for the users, so we also need to analyze and to measure with the user in the center. And we also have a couple of initiatives already with artificial intelligence, with predictive analytics, and with other solutions that are taking us to the next level in terms of knowing more about our users. So in the end, we are looking for becoming omni-channel, multi-device and multi-channel, looking for different sessions, so the customer journey tend to be longer and to have multiple touch points, as I will share with you in a couple of moments. So attribution models and other areas are essential to the analysis we do today, and the kind of information we can use and obtain from our tools. So in the end, we want to get focused, we want to get insights, and we want to learn more about what is relevant and the kind of audiences that are more important for us. So one of the ideas that I have been sharing is an evolutive approach that I called EASE. So basically, we have several interactions that we can do depending on the maturity level that our organization is currently at. So when we are looking for the default setup of Google Analytics property, we are looking for, most of the time, we don't have real user information. We have what Google calls client ID. So it's like a generated ID for the machine, for the device, and not a real user vision. So what we can start doing in the first item is, let's start preparing the base of our asset, of our digital property, to be tracked in a way that we can measure different users and not just different devices. So we start becoming more user-centric to analyze, and also to do the next step of bringing other kinds of data sources in the organization, trying to connect more information to that user. So when we are analyzing different segments, different perspectives, we can get information about exactly the kind of user that we want. So the audience and the target group that we are currently looking for in our analysis. Okay, so this is the first enrichment level that we are covering most today, but it's like, for me, critical for the success of our business strategies and for our properties to be successful. So then we have segmentation. So as soon as we have enough information looking for real users and having additional information that is important for our business, we can start doing segmentation to find our target audiences, to set personas, and to be able to follow and optimize our strategy using profiles that can actually be a success for our business strategy. When we have that, we are able to give a step ahead and go for experimentation. So we have the numbers, we have the audiences, we have the data, so we can start testing other alternatives, trying to find a way to make it more efficient, to make it more relevant, and in the end, bringing us a ROI bigger, more revenue, more engagement, depending on our goal, but we can be improving all the time. When we have all of this, the step number 4, and as you see, the P is under parentheses, is like the last mile, is starting to have personalized experiences. So not only experimentation looking for overall groups, but to personalize for the individual and have content that is exactly matching that user and making it more relevant. So this is the last item of the evolution on this model that I have created. So let's see exactly how user-centric analytics can be used to increase our results, because we know more about our users, because we can be more efficient in our marketing strategies and, for example, designing new versions or new upgrades for our application or for our website. So focus on users is something that we have been doing for a couple of years. So UX and UI and design thinking and a lot of different topics cover the central point that today the users are the main focus. So we need to get everything prepared for them, designed for them. So when we are talking about analytics, we are talking in the end result. So we need to measure what they are believing or what they are doing in our properties. So we have a better design for them, but we need to validate those results. We need to make sure that actually it's getting the results that we were looking for. So we need to, we will be able to understand the customer journey across multiple touch points if we are measuring real users and not the default client ID that most tools provide. So we need to give this jump to understand more about the full customer journey, and we also can analyze better how a user or common user actually they engage from multiple sources. So if the user are coming from an advertisement campaign, from social media, for organic search or others, and also how many sessions, how much time between sessions. So all of these interactions, all of this behavior starts getting more realistic and more relevant for us because we are talking about real users. So if we have real users and real information to analyze, we start becoming able to create audiences and personas that are more realistic and more accurate, and that is what we want to do in the end. So the last item, we will be able to segment better our data and our audience, and if we are using the tools like Google Analytics, we can even create remarketing lists and audiences that we can power them on advertising with Google Ads, and we can send ads and present our company and our products to the people that actually were already on our website, did a couple of interactions, but actually they are not yet finalizing the acquisition or the purchase. So this is an interactive approach that you are getting more data to be able to improve your performance, and in the end you are able to design a better solution for your users. So this will try to get us a clear vision about the customer journey. Of course, it's very difficult, almost impossible to measure all the items that I have here on this slide, but the idea is to show you how complex is the customer journey with different stages, different levels of interest and engagement, and different features, tools, and assets that we have to track. If we are able to start tracking correctly websites, landing pages, mobile, the things that we are more in control, and we can use analytics or other tools to measure, and we have this user-centric vision together with our CRM information, we are already a step ahead in the kind of vision that we can get from these tools and the insights we are able to acquire. So one of the things that we will be able to do if we know better our users is actually we can be designing our experiences better. So we can be improving the overall user experience, creating new features that are the ones that the users need, not just the features that we believe are relevant. And we can be measuring exactly the impact and the results that these experiences have for our users. So if we are doing campaigns or improvements in the website and in the mobile app, we can make it as much relevant as we can, because we know them, we know what they are doing, we have information about the focus of our users, and not just random IDs, because we don't know exactly if these real people. So this is the key of this strategy. If we know our users, we will be able to improve our results, it be revenue or engagement, but we will be knowing them more correctly. So regarding the user experience, a lot of people talk about that, but do we have enough information when we are redesigning our experience, or are we just following our gut and trying to adapt to the standards and to the common approach on the market, but we don't know exactly what is relevant for our users? So this is where user-centric analytics come into the game. So we have more information when we are designing, when we are setting a campaign, when we are writing our content, so we can be improving the way we are doing this, because we know what the users want, and we can improve our work and our results. Let's see exactly how Google Analytics can do it with us. So we know that Google Analytics is a very open and free and easy tool to use. We can use it on the website or a mobile app. It has evolved a lot, but actually what is in it that can bring us the information about our users and can give all these holistic vision about people, about what is happening on the website? So one of the recent evolutions that analytics has been implementing in the platform has been a couple of reports, a couple of features that rely on user information and not just, like I said, click information or session information. So users are the central point. Users will type everything. So I will show you a couple of reports where is user-focused reporting that is very common these days on Google Analytics and other tools like Mixpanel, Flurry, and so on. Also, User Explorer, for example, is a tool that we will see that allows us to understand more about each user, understanding the kind of interactions that the user was doing on our application or website. We also have audience reporting, so not just looking for what individuals are doing, but also a specific audience as a very powerful segmentation feature. How can we get more information about that audience? Then we have the conversion probability. Is a very interesting feature that I will show in a few seconds that is related with the use of artificial intelligence to understand more about how likely is a user to buy on our website in the next 30 days. So it's very interesting to see how Google is also powering these reports with AI and making it very powerful for our analysis. So in the end, we have also the more common and stable features like advanced segments, multi-channel funnels, and attribution models that we have already available on analytics for a while, but they will be very enhanced and they will work even better if we have information about user ID. So as I say in the end, actually it all starts with something called user ID. So we will be able to set an ID of our users to teach analytics about who is the user, because analytics can't find it on their own, and we are able to push that information in the tool, so we can do a lot of these analysis and a lot of these more deep gatherings and insights. So let's see in a more practical vision what this represents. So if you looking to the presentation, I'm showing you a common report of Google Analytics related to a property shared by Google to everyone that wants to learn or teach analytics, that is Google Merchandise Store. And what you can see in this kind of reports is a huge focus on the user's perspective. So users, new users, we have dimensions and pieces of information that will give us information like, okay, the traffic source is, or the channel is these sources like organic search, but how about the kind of user? So it's a new user, it's a returning user. So the concept of user has been implemented on Google Analytics for a few years, and it's starting to be the core item on any analysis, because we start by looking for all users. So the users is our focus, and we are looking not for sessions, not for page views, that is not even on this screen, but we are looking for specific information about users. So we are looking for what users see or how they get on our website. And when we are talking about a new user coming from Google Organic, for example, this includes other search engines, but taking Google as an example, how many users, what is the common behavior, what is the kind of conversion related metrics, so we are able to see if we are generating revenue from that channel or not. But more than just looking for sessions, we are going a step ahead for real users and for real behavior. Also, in the audience part, we have several features, like in the behavior section, that pushes this concept of users a lot. So we have new versus returning users. So this vision of it's the first time that the user is on our website or is a returning visitor. Also, we have information like frequency and recency. So how many sessions usually our users do on the website, how many days that usually they have between sessions. So information about the behavior users have in our website. We have also engagement information, like if the user tend to be more time or less time on the website, the quality of the session, that includes also some artificial intelligence behind. So trying to mix the conversion and the success into our vision of it's likely for a user to convert and to be engaging with our system or not. Also, we have the conversion probability that I will talk in a few moments. We can also see other reports like cohort analysis, where we are looking for users that we acquired in a specific day, let's see October 8th, and if they return after a couple of days. So we have reports like cohorts getting user retention and other metrics in terms of in the timeline, if the users keep engaging or they are going away. So this is a very core concept at the moment for analytics, where we can find a lot of different information regarding users. So active users is another report that you have that will push a lot this vision of users in the first item that I was showing, that is the user-focused reporting. So this is what I mean about user-focused reporting. Even without user ID, because this property don't have user ID installed yet, we already have this concept of users as the base of our analysis. So let's moving for the more interesting part. So, okay, we have information about these users. I will be also taking the questions more in the end, so it will be easier for us to take some time explaining. So I'm seeing some questions coming up, but I will take care of it in the end, okay? So one of the things that we can do, and continuing what I was saying, is we have this user-focused reporting already in the tool, even if we don't do this enhancement that I will be presenting now. However, if we do it, we will be going into the very sweet spot of knowing our people and not just the devices. So if you look to this example, user ID, or the concept of user ID that Google Analytics is implementing in all their versions of analytics, is we are able to generate some kind of ID internally, and we can push for towards Google Analytics who is that person. So imagine that I am going to a website, I am navigating on a website. As soon as I am logging in, for example, I can identify my internal user ID, the one that I also have on the CRM, that I have on the contact center, and so on. And I can teach Google and say, okay, this is Bruno. So when Bruno goes on the mobile phone after, because I was doing it on the computer, we can identify that, okay, I logged in again, is also Bruno on the mobile phone. So we are able to correlate all these different interactions as a person and not as devices, because by default, due to technology reasons, Google Analytics can't distinguish if you are going on a desktop or on a mobile device without some support. So user ID is that support. So if you look at the image, we are talking about measuring with client ID, that is the default version, is the identification generated by Google, a random number. We have 4 unique visitors because it's 1 per each device. If we activate the user ID, we can monitor this user across all these different taglines. So we are able to identify that in all these devices we have only 1 user, and all the analysis that I was sharing with you can be focused on people and not on a couple of devices. So this is the real improvement that we can do to the analytics, so we can be even more focused. So we were already focused on users, but we didn't have the data cleaned enough and organized enough to be as efficient as we wanted. So user ID turned this into a very efficient way to analyze our users. The way you can activate it, I have the link here. We will share the presentation, so you will be able to check how it's done. But it's just sending our internal ID to the tool, and it's a very easy way to do, just like we do event tracking. We track transactions. So this is the same kind of model that is used by Google among their solutions, both applications and websites. When we are able to start using this user ID and unified vision, you start being able to access a whole new set of reports that makes sense when you are able to connect these devices to a single user. So we have this cross-device report that allow you to check the kind of journey our users have across multiple devices. So if you are looking for the customer life cycle and the customer journey, we can identify if the user tend to search online in the mobile phone before buying, but then they will buy on the desktop because the form is a little bit more complex. So you will be able to understand these kind of behaviors and understand exactly the trend on your website, because you know the people and not just the devices, as I was mentioning. We are, as I said, getting a lot of information regarding users. There was one information that I didn't show, but is also very interesting. That is the lifetime value. So analytics show also the lifetime value of a user. They connect the revenue generated in our, for example, e-commerce website and the users, and we are able to check in lifetime value vision what is the average revenue of a user. So this is interesting even for our business strategies. So it's very relevant for us when we are able to close the cycle and get all this information. We also are able to use something that I mentioned, the User Explorer, to understand exactly what is happening with our users. So, for example, what you see in the screen is a report on a specific user, looking for the acquisition information, so how we acquire the user for the first time, the interactions that the user did in the website, so across the days, the kind of traffic source that then we got. For example, we acquired the user for the first time from a paid campaign, so paid search, and then we are getting a lot of visits and sessions afterwards using referral information. So we get information about what is happening, and we have information about the kind of sessions we have, the kind of transactions. So we are able to get a more complete overview about the behavior of a user. Anonymized way, so there is no personal data usually on these screens. So personal identified information is not supposed to be loaded here. So we load the ID, internal ID that can correlate between analytics and our systems. Okay, but no personal information should be added here. No emails, just an ID. Okay. We are also able to start creating audiences. So if you look for a user that is like we were looking here, that actually went through paid search and did more than 5 transactions so far over time, this is a regular user. So we can start doing audiences that connect with these behaviors on our website and applications, and we create audiences that then we can analyze. So an audience built with users with specific kinds of interactions and behavior on the website will become able to analyze together. So the trend is not for just a person, as I was showing in the User Explorer, but is for an audience, for a more complete set of users. Okay, so we will be able to analyze trends and common behavior because we are looking for a group that is one of our targets and our focus. Regarding the audiences, we will be able to do also something I was sharing with you, that is the conversion probability. So conversion probability is one of the most recent features on Google Analytics, and they take the information from our users together with the artificial intelligence that Google is applying to the reports, trying to understand in the next 30 days how likely is users to convert and to become doing a purchase on our website. So one of the things that you can see on the screen, and I don't have a live demo to show on this one, but one of the things that you can see is in the bottom left corner, we have default channel grouping. So actually we will be able to analyze what is the probability of buying in the next 30 days regarding a traffic source. So what it gives to us, on top of all the things that we were already able to get, is where should I invest my money if I'm trying, for example, to invest on a campaign to transform into business in the next 30 days. So if I know that with an algorithm like this, I know that on Facebook, if I run some ads, it's more likely for me to get conversions. Okay, let's invest on Facebook and not on Google. So let's try to look into a more like almost entering in the predictive analysis. Let's try to invest in the place that we are more comfortable that we will get our money back. So the big question, so if I put €1, how much I will get in return? So this is the kind of report that will be very interesting for us, because again, we are being able to look at users, we are able to take the best out of our tool, in this case analytics, trying to understand exactly how likely it is for us to get a conversion. And as I also mentioned here in the slide, if we are able to do a segments using this metric, conversion probability is a metric, imagine that we are starting to be able to segment and say, I want to analyze who are the users with a conversion probability of more than 50%. We can analyze them, we can understand more about how they use the website, how they got on the website, and we also can create remarketing lists we can use to advertise, for example, on Google for that specific kind of audience. So I will be touching these users, for example, to upgrade the package. So they have already some engagement with us, but we want them to get to a higher level of our subscription model. So we are able to push with remarketing and becoming very targeted in the way we are advertising, trying to get as much revenue, as much results as possible. So this is another excellent feature we get with this user-centric approach. Also giving you a vision not only to the big and interesting features we have available on Google Analytics at the moment, but also some more common features that get a lot of benefit when we are looking in a user-centric way. So multi-channel funnels, for those of you that may not know, is our ability to understand and perceive the impact of a channel in our overall results. So what I mean with this is, if you take a look to this screen, it shows the sequence of interactions, so different sessions users are taking before converting. So in the first example, a lot of people are getting through organic search, they come to the website, but they are not finishing the conversion. Later, they come through display, and we are able to turn them into customers. So display is advertising, is looking for a banner on a website and clicking to come to the website. Okay, so we are able to reinforce with advertisement, and we can convert the user. So we have this sequence of interactions over the time. However, you see the paid search in the line 7, 8, and 9. That looks like they never touch base. They never do a final conversion. So they are what for Google we call assisted conversions, as we can see in the link above. So assisted conversions are channels that can send the user to our website, present the product, make them know us, but they have more difficulty to turn them into customers. But they are important in our marketing strategy. We can't forget about them, because probably they are bringing a lot of users, and they then are turning into customers in a later stage through another channel. But they are important for this first interaction that brings our brand to the user's attention. So we need to take the option and the possibility to analyze these impacts of our channels. And for example, using user ID, we are not splitting, as we saw, 4 different users. And then when we analyze the sequence is broken in the middle. So we can get an idea, but it's not the real idea of our audience. So if we are able to identify the users across the journey, we will be able to start becoming much more efficient on analyzing these multi-channel funnels and measuring exactly the impact of social media. So what is the relevance of a social media and social networks in our strategy? We invest a lot on it, and as known, most of the industries don't get the number of leads that they wanted from social media. So is social media a channel that we should drop? Maybe not. Maybe it's a first time interaction when we are using social media, but then we will be able to convert later with other channels. So having a vision about the user is very powerful for us, even for other tools and other features that you have available on Google Analytics, making you more aware of the user behavior and what people really want and what they can be optimized to convert more. Okay. Everything that I have been explaining so far is regarding universal analytics. So it's the mode of Google Analytics for the web mostly. It was also used for applications in the past, but now we are going into a way that applications start getting a lot of attention because they are really important to track, and we want to get as much information we can regarding our applications and our mobile world. So what Google released recently was a view regarding what they call Google App and Web. So a unified vision between our website and our application. So one or more. So we can integrate all of those together. So we can analyze exactly the behavior, and if we are tracking the user, we can correlate the journey more closely and in a more very powerful way. So if you take a look into some of these reports, they are not so different. They in terms of metrics and dimensions, they touch base with what we already know about Google Analytics and we have been using in our websites for a while. But the way the Google Analytics is building all the analysis and all the metrics and informations are mainly focused on events. So it's an event-based approach, just like Firebase. I don't know if you know Firebase, but Firebase has been one of the evolutions and one big technology piece of technology, that is included in the mobile apps. So it's very relevant to be also learning how these new technologies bringing add value to us. So with Google App and Web, we will be able to focus on events, funnels, journeys inside our websites and applications, and also get the benefit of having Google AI working with us, trying to push as much knowledge and insights for us. So you can see, for example, in one of the tools that you have available in Google App and Web is a huge control over what they call the Explorer. So the exploration of data is much more powerful. Actually, I even joke sometimes because this kind of exploration looks like Tableau software. So they are becoming, going against the competition, showing that Google is here for the small website, for the free version, but also for the high enterprise website. So they are pushing, so with Google 360, pushing all this capacity over the users and making sure that we can track together users and our devices correctly, looking for our conversions and getting our results more in control. We can also create very powerful funnels because, again, if we are looking for an event-based technology, we are more in control of managing the kind of event, the sequence, the kind of behavior we want to look at. And as you can see in the slide, it's very powerful. It's very, very flexible to use. So it's something that will, for the moment, is still in beta. It's in the first years, so it starts even to stabilize. But it will be a very important tool in the next few years. I'm sure about that. And we will be able to take a lot of information regarding our users, regarding their behavior. So we will get insights to improve our applications, websites, and marketing strategies. So the last one I have here to show you regarding App and Web is not only we saw Explorer, like user information, common data, we saw funnels, so what is happening and the sequence that is happening on our website or application. And now we also have the capability to analyze the path, so the navigation path, in a way that we can understand what is happening one after the other. So we have more information to work on, and we can work in our hypothesis to take our conclusions to another level. So for user-centric analytics, this is a little bit of what we can get, but in my opinion, is not yet enough. We need to give even a step ahead, getting a little bit of more information. Why? Because by default, tools like Google Analytics, Google App and Web, they detect a lot of things, but they don't have information that only us internally can have. So CRM information, historical information from our customer, information from the contact center in terms of satisfaction. So a lot of information that we may get from all other areas in our company, and we could push into our analytics tool to get to a different vision, to a different perspective in the way we analyze. So that's why I mentioned here, fine-tune our audiences, making them very much accurate, looking for what is the user doing on our website and what is actually relevant for us. So these new perspectives can have, just as a couple of examples for you to understand the idea is, I can get information about if the user has a loyalty card, so he's not just any user, and I can say that to analytics. So you are able to do segmentations and audiences in a totally different way. Also, if you have some kind of customer classification, so it's a old loyal customer, or it's a newcomer, or if it's a risky customer because he's not coming to the website for the last few months, so we may lose it. Or if it's a customer that is not satisfied and contacting us through the contact center, can we know what they are doing online? This is what we want to do, is we want to get this piece of information, this additional, what I call enrichment of our database, so we can get a whole new way of perspectives and information that we can get just for our businesses, because it's something very personal or our company's data that can be included in the tool, so we can power then the analysis. This is mostly what is relevant. And in a vision of Google Analytics, we will be able to put this information at different, what they call scopes. So you have different scopes where you can add information. You can add information at the user level, so all the kind of characteristics and attributes about the user. We can also put information about the session, so something that is impacting the session. So, for example, what it says there, if the user logged in or not, so you can understand the kind of behavior. Or you can also becoming more specific, and by each you can get additional information. And this one, for example, can look a little bit strange, but sometimes you don't know if you are showing the right responsive version, so the responsive layout according to the kind of device that is coming to the website. So you can use this additional information to do that. It's a more technical piece of information, but also very relevant to enhance our experience or our users' experience. So together, combining all these different capabilities, we are in the position to take these to a different level. So we are able to take data that we already have, like by default from Google Analytics in our websites and mobile apps, and we can get it to glue it with information about the user. So we are starting to be able to connect all these sessions, all these journeys together with the person and not just a random device. So this is a very interesting improvement. But if you get even a step ahead, imagine the amount of audiences, personalizations, experimentations you will be able to do, because you know that there are users, real users that have a loyalty card, or they are very loyal customers for me, or they are big money spending customers that we need to take care in our e-commerce experience, or they are customers that already did a lot of different orders but they never pay afterwards through multi-bank or something like that. So we need to be able to get these analysis to the next level, so we can take CRM, risk, marketing, among others, to join in our vision and to power the analysis that we are doing, but then also the strategy that we are building, because the data that we will be able to take to set our next year strategy, for example, it will be totally different and will be much more focused in the end goal. So knowing our users, knowing what they want, so we will give them an experience aligned with what they want, and we will be able to get a totally different set of results. So this is the concept I have, and as a takeaway, just a next step. First of all, start assessing what is your current analytics model or maturity model in the organization, because I'm saying this, but sometimes it's not easy to jump into this level at your organization. So take a look to this and an analysis that you can do internally, and then also you have the model I presented as a way to quickly go forward and achieve some of these results I have been talking about. So thank you very much. I hope you liked the session, and I will be here in the next couple of minutes to clarify any questions that you have. So looking for one of the questions I received from Ruben. How can we enrich Google Analytics data with other data in order to know how a specific customer behaves in our website? So I think by now, more or less, it's already answered. So you have the ability to input some ID generated by your organization, and also just to give you an additional tip, because sometimes I get questions like, okay, but you need to get always the user logging in the system so you can know who they are. That's correct for the most general situations, but if we are creative, we get a lot of ways to make it identifiable without getting any kind of login authentication. For example, imagine that you are looking for a website that is like an event like this, or have some kind of interaction powered by, for example, a mailing list or email marketing. When you are doing email marketing, you have the email, so you know who is the person. So when you send the email marketing, you can have some kind of information that will generate an ID in advance for that user. So the user, by reaching the website, you already know that is a specific person. So if I open the email on my mobile phone, I know that is Bruno. If I open it on desktop, I know that is Bruno. If then I actually can log in or make some registration, fine, I will just confirm and I will attach that information to the registration form that are being submitted. But I have a huge continuity in the information we have about the user, so we can get real customer journey over time with a trick like this. But also log in with Facebook and Google can identify the user. So a lot of different situations can identify the user, and it will not be for these kind of creative solutions. It will not be for 100% of the user base, but it will get us a lot of information back. So technically, it's a custom dimension. So we will be able to add information through a custom dimension on analytics, other data, because as Ruben was asking, not just for user ID, I just explained for user ID, but for Google Analytics data with other data is when someone gets into the website and you are able to pull out some information from your system. So I do a page load, the page identify with the cookie that I am this person, and I can show him information like I was saying, categorization of the kind of user, good buyer, a bad payer, whatever you want to classify, and we can input this kind of data into analytics using custom dimensions and also custom metrics. So it's two options that you have available to input more data. Also, if you take this question to other areas of data, you can also import advertising information. So data from the investments you do on Facebook. You can say, I spent on Facebook this amount of money, so it will connect the source on analytics with the input cost that you are adding to the Google Analytics information. What it will give to you is return on investment, not only with Google Ads, that is more or less automated in the current versions of Google Analytics, but for Facebook, you will also be able to get information about what was the cost, what is the revenue, so you get the ROI that you need. Okay, I don't know if I clarified your question, Ruben. Okay, first. Thanks. So I don't know if there is any other question. If there is not any other question, we can close it for today. But if you have any questions, just let me know. So maybe between we wait a few minutes if there is any other question, just showing you a little bit more about the actual tool and some of the options I was sharing. So this version, if you, for example, also a tip, if you want to explore more about analytics and you don't have a property to work on, this demo account from Google, the Google Merchandise Store, can be used, and it can be anyone can get access to it. You just need to look to the Google Analytics Academy, and they have these open to everyone. If you look for example, multi-channel funnels, like I was showing to you, mentioning it a couple of minutes ago, we have a lot of information regarding first interaction, so the sources that are bringing the traffic for the first time, the conversions that are actually finishing turning the user into a customer, so buying or doing a very relevant conversion can be a goal that we set up on analytics, and assisting interaction. So in the middle, the channels that are actually supporting the navigation and the interaction, but they are not finishing the conversion. So they are just supporting. They are helping us to become more engaged with the user, but it's not yet the conversion that we wanted. So we can select the kind of conversion we want, an e-commerce transaction, or another goal that we created, so we can focus on specific actions, so we can analyze what I was sharing with you, the real value of any channel, so the kind of money back if you are selling something, or the kind of conversion that you are getting. So if you can see in my screen, so you have this for Google Merchandise Store, the kind of evolution and sequences that we have. This is the overall behavior, but if we look for more results, we have more niche behaviors. And of course, you can also look for some segmentation, trying to find what is the kind of approach for specific kinds of users. So you have a lot of different combinations that you can look at, and you can segment to the kind of users that you are more interested to see, understanding exactly what they have, what they are looking for, and what the path that they do, the journey before they actually buy on your website. Okay, so this is also very relevant, and of course it's using users information. If you don't use user ID, it uses client ID, that is a random generated number. If you use user ID, you have a more clear and unique identification of the person, and because it's controlled by you, by your website system, you can then connect with CRM, with other data solutions like I was mentioning, contact center, sales information. So you can start bridging together all these concepts, all these data silos into a more holistic vision about the behavior of a user, connected with all the other parts and all the other areas of your organization. Okay, so once again, thank you very much. We don't have any other questions, so we will close it for today. So thank you very much, and let's talk in another masterclass in the near future. Thanks.